What's up, guys? So hope you're all having a blessed day today. For this video, I wanted to touch on like a big topic, I think, when it comes to following and trusting God, and that's surrender, right? Because surrender, it sounds very simple. It sounds like just trust God, just let go. But in real life, it's not always that simple. It feels like letting go of control when your life already feels so unstable. Trusting God when you don't understand what He's doing a lot of the time, and walking away from things that feel comfortable, even if they're not good for you. And surrender doesn't feel peaceful at first. It feels like you're always losing something. And for me, that was one of the hardest parts of my journey, because if I'm being totally honest here, I didn't want to surrender my life to God. Not fully anyway. And I wanted God in my life, but I still wanted, some sort of control over how things would play out. I wanted my timeline, my relationships, my career path, and my own sense of security. And even when I knew something wasn't right for me, I would still try to do everything in my power to hold on to that. Like in my relationship, for example, I knew deep down it wasn't a godly relationship. I knew it wasn't leading me to where I needed to go. But it was comfortable, and comfort can be really dangerous. It can be one of the most dangerous things we can feel, because it makes you stay in places God is trying to pull you out of. And I remember feeling God just nudging at me over and over again and just saying, this isn't it to me. And I kept trying to make it work anyway, not because it was right, but because I didn't want to let it go. And I think we all can face certain decisions like this, where sometimes the best thing we can do is really like leave it up to God to decide what is really meant to be in our life, instead of trying to always force things ourselves. And so eventually life forced what I didn't want to surrender. That breakup happened after 4.5 years. And everything I had been trying to hold together during that time just fell apart instantly. And right after that, everything else hit too. My dad's health, the stress at home, the job situation, and the loneliness. And I remember thinking, why is everything falling apart at once? Why is this happening now? And looking back, I see it in a totally different light. It wasn't just stuff falling apart. It was stuff that was being stripped away for a purpose. And there's a story in the Bible that always stood out to me when it comes to surrender. And that's Abraham and Isaac, right? And God gave Abraham a promise, his son Isaac. And then later, God asked to give that one thing back up to him. Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and offer him. Genesis 22:2. And that doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Why would God give something just to ask it back? But the point wasn't the loss of that thing. It was the trust. God was asking Abraham, do you trust me more than what I gave you? And so Abraham obeyed. Not because it was easy for him to do it, but because he trusted God more than he trusted his own understanding of the situation. And at that last moment, God provided. And he not only gave Abraham his son back, but he blessed him with even more descendants, like a greater future, just because of his obedience and surrender he had shown to God during that moment. And that story always hit me differently when I looked at it with my own life, because I realized I wasn't just holding on to things, right? I was putting them above God. They were my own idols I had created to try to provide like a sense of meaning for my life. my comfort, my relationships, my plans. And surrender meant this for me, being willing to let go of anything that was getting in the way of him, even if it hurt, even if it caused so much pain in the process and so much loneliness, and even if I didn't really understand it at the time. And the most powerful example of surrender isn't just Abraham, but it's Jesus himself. Right before the cross, Jesus prays this: Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done. Luke 22:42. Even Jesus didn't want that, what was coming. He was honest about that, and he still surrendered anyway. That's what real surrender looks like. Not pretending it's always easy, because a lot of the time it's not, but choosing God anyway despite that struggle. Because surrender is mostly an internal battle. You know what God is calling you to do. You know what path he wants you to take, but everything inside you is wanting to resist that. You want to hold on a little longer, control that outcome, and wait until things feel safer. But surrender doesn't happen when it feels safe. It happens when you decide, I trust God more than I trust myself. And for me, surrender didn't happen just one big moment. It happened in pieces. Letting go of relationships, letting go of control over my own timeline I had set for myself, letting go of trying to fix everything on my own. And slowly, I started to feel just something different. Not immediate peace, but a sense of clarity and a new sense of meaning and purpose that wasn't led by the things of this world that would provide, short-term pleasure for long-term pain, but rather a God that may put you through short-term pain, but pain that is necessary for your long-term prosperity and character. And surrender doesn't make your life perfect immediately, but it does this. It removes the weight of trying to control everything on your own. Cast your cares on the Lord and he will sustain you. Psalm 55:22. When you stop trying to carry everything yourself, you make room for God to finally move in your life. If you're in that place right now where you need to let something go, but you're struggling to, or you don't want to, you're not alone. We all struggle with this. Surrender is hard. It's one of the hardest things I ever had to do. But recognize holding on to the wrong things will always cost you more time. Sometimes the very thing you're afraid of to release is the very thing that's keeping you more stuck and lost than if you were to finally just move past the fear of just relinquishing control of it. In this next episode, I want to talk about something that comes after surrender, because once you let go, there's still that question of, how do I rebuild my life in the right way with God now at the center? How do you actually start moving forward again? And so, yeah, we're going to discuss that in the next video. But if you guys enjoyed today's video, and it helped you in any way, please feel free to like and comment and subscribe for more more videos like this. And if you think that this video could help somebody else, also share it with them. I appreciate all the support that I've been getting over these last couple of videos, and I hope I can continue to grow this channel further and reach more people. Anyway, thank you guys for everything, and I hope you all have a blessed day.